Hello. You guys have just seen my new intro. Hopefully it pleases you. If it doesn't, leave a comment. And since you guys never leave comments, I should be perfectly fine. Anyway, uh, I am going to do the M4A3E2 today, otherwise known as the Sherman Jumbo. I am using the most heavily armored version, but I will also use the version with the crap turret because I like you guys. I will spend money to have you guys see the crap turret. Um, so, this is another review slash strategy guide of a tank. Whoa! Hopefully I get some good battles to show you guys. Alright, so here we have Highway, our first game. This game is a very good example of how to use the M4A3E2 Sherman Jumbo well. For now on, we're just going to call it the Sherman Jumbo. So as you guys can see, I'm going to pull up the map and the statistics here, and this is a Tier 7 game. Now, for most Tier 6 tanks, Tier 7 means absolute slaughter, but for this tank, in fact, this is a very good map, and a very good match. So, what we can do on this map is that we can use close quarters to cover up our sides, and then larger tier tanks will not be able to penetrate us from the front. Like I said, this is a very heavily armored tank. Its armor is higher than the tank that comes after it, which is the T-29, which is known for its armor. The thing that you might want to note about this tank is that its penetration with this turret isn't very high. This turret isn't able to load the highest version of the 76mm gun, but it is able to load a 76 slightly lower penetration and range. So what you're going to want to do with this tank is that this tank is pretty good at close range brawling. Not too close range, but close enough that you can see their weak spots, or not sniping, basically. You might want to note that there does happen to be a tiny little gun on the front. It is a frontal machine gun. That is the main weakness of this tank from the front with this armor setup. You will see it later. But anyway, it is easily penetrated. You shoot above the gun, not below the gun. You can see a little bit of the gun right there. And that is the weakness you want to shoot in the front of this tank, especially if you're fighting other tanks. When you're in this tank, you'll end up fighting tanks of similar caliber, or the exact same, or you'll be fighting other Sherman Jumbos. So, basically, what you want to do is that you want to get up close to them. Your mobility is actually high enough so that you can harass heavy tanks pretty easily. What I do here is that I go up and start messing with this KV-1S. Heavy tanks, and when you're in a medium tank, are good targets. It makes it so that there's one less heavy tank on the enemy team, and it also makes it so that there is less of a threat to other people. You want to kind of be taking the hits. See, what I do here is that I go backward and forward constantly to make sure that the KV-1S isn't going to shoot me. That KV-1S can penetrate my frontal armor because it does possess a derp gun. Either that or it's an IS. Either way, they have the exact same gun and they will penetrate you from the front. That looks like an IS. Anyway, I cannot penetrate the front, but I did take the blow from my team, and I let the people behind me kill them. And also, I hit the gun of the KV-1S, which was something really stupid. And I just killed another Sherman Jumbo. So, this thing is pretty good at urban warfare. The sides are pretty big, just like the tanks after it and before it. So, you're not going to want to be in open fields for too long with this tank. It's also not very fast compared to some other tanks. If you guys notice, like the E8, the M4A3E2, which is the brother of this tank, I'm not quite sure if it's the predecessor. I don't think so, since it ends with 8 and this one ends with 2. Anyway, the E8 can surpass this tank in mobility. But the thing about the E8 is that it doesn't have this heavy armor. This armor can bounce pretty much anything from tier 7, even tier 8, and tier 6. So basically, you're from long distances, you're pretty much invulnerable. From short distances, you'll take some fire because of your little machine gun in the front of the tank that I'm sure you guys still haven't seen. Anyway, so basically I am firing at the back of tanks. Got a little engine shot right there, taking out key components of enemy tanks. That is something that this tank is very good at. It doesn't do very much damage, but you kind of try to get critical hits. Hoping for critical hits at least, and hoping for for critical hits that aren't not blowing the tracks off. Also, this tank is very good as an invader. As you can see, it bounces a lot of shots. It's very good at going straight forward into the cap and then distracting the enemy. Now, what you see me do right here is that I stop. I realize that the enemy tanks are far away. I can't snipe them, and most of them were tier 7, as you saw, so they would far surpass me in firepower from a long range. You don't want to chase other tanks with this tank. You want to angle your armor towards them. Angling your armor isn't actually necessary in this tank because of sloping, but you might as well. It's good practice for other tanks. As you can see, that tank is out of range, and it's only like, no, I can't even see how many meters away, but not very many for most tanks. Alright, so this is the second game. This game contains the M4A3E2 EZ8 Sherman tanks gun. You guys, few things that you will notice about this gun. It has low armor, it has higher accuracy, and much higher penetration than the last gun that I used. This is a tier 8 game. This would be a preferable game for my last turret, since it's on Fisherman's Bay. A little bit skipping forward here, it's going to go a little bit frame by frame. I just wanted to show you guys the way I went. What I did with this tank, I go a little bit faster now. So what I do is that I go kind of around the back and the edge of the map, just so that I don't get shot. This turret has extremely low armor compared to the last turret I had, like 100mm difference. So you'll see that in a few seconds that rather than bouncing anything, I will get hit. Thankfully I got hit in the track right there, and I was able to put in a 200 point shot, and I got penetrated in the side of the turret twice right there, and in the gun. Components are kind of exposed when your turret is penetratable. Anyway, if I were using the other turret, I would want to go into the bay part of this map where there are buildings, but I am not able to. So what I'm doing right now is that I'm basically just farming damage points off of heavy tanks, since I am able to penetrate their sides, not their fronts, but their sides and rear. It's a good strategy with this turret if you're in such a game. If you're in a normal game, tier 6 or tier 7, what you could do is that you could hang back far away from the enemy, kind of like I'm doing, and snipe them. It doesn't really work nearly as well in this game because there are unspotted tanks that are shooting me the whole time. And you'll see what I do right here is that I shoot the, I'm attempting to shoot the little gun on the tank. As you can see, I can't penetrate any of the front of that Sherman Jumbo, because he does have the good upgrade. And I am indeed penetrating for 200 damage, or 100 damage, I think it's 200, his little, forward machine gun. But I'm also being shot in the side of the turret a bunch of times by other tanks that are much larger than me. As you can see, there's a few huge holes in the sides of my turret. So that is what happens when you use that turret. And I hope you guys learned something today from my World Tanks video. This has been the Sherman M4A3E2. See you guys next time.